Genesis 4:1 through 5:32. Devotional Focus Verse. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Genesis 4:7. The excited words, "Daddy, Daddy," greeted me when I arrived home from work. Before I could even take off my coat, my little daughter pulled me to the kitchen where she proudly displayed a gift she had made for me. Lying on the kitchen table, in all its resplendent beauty, was a crayoned picture of a very pink horse. My daughter was quick to point out how painstakingly she had colored inside the lines. She had been learning that the acceptable way to color images was to keep inside the lines, and she had clearly put her very best effort into this picture. My heart was warmed with the knowledge that she had spent so much time and care in making sure her gift would please me. I knew it was truly a gift from the heart. In today's text, we read that the first two sons born to Adam and Eve brought gifts or offerings to God. We can quickly distinguish which of the two brothers, Cain or Abel, had a true desire to please God. While they both were aware of the need to offer sacrifices, only Abel's offering was pleasing to him. We read that God had respect unto Abel and his offering, but unto Cain and his offering he had not respect. See Genesis 4:4-5. We know that if Cain had done well, his offering would have been accepted. In Cain's case, his heart attitude was evident in his offering and was outwardly demonstrated in his reaction to God's rejection of it. He was wroth and unmoved by the questions God asked him, which were indicative of God's care and desire for Cain to examine himself and come to repentance. His nature was further revealed when he rose up and murdered his righteous brother Abel. When we know what it takes to please God and yet refuse to give what He requires from us, we will not be accepted by Him, and sin lies at the door of our lives, waiting to overwhelm us. Thankfully, that does not have to be the case for anyone. We can choose to follow the example of righteous Abel and bring an offering to God that we know will please Him from a heart of obedience and worship. When we do so, we can be assured that we will be accepted by Him. Background information. Chapter 4 begins with the birth of Adam and Eve's first two sons, Cain and Abel, and moves directly into an account of their offerings and God's response to them. Abel's sacrifice was accepted, and Cain's rejected. Insight as to why this was the case is found in Hebrews 11:4, where the Apostle Paul relates, "By faith Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous." Abel chose a lamb from his flock as a sacrifice, and the shedding of blood prefigured the blood of the Lamb of God, which was to take away the sins of the world. Hebrews 12:24 refers to the blood of sprinkling and states that it speaketh better things than that of Abel. The blood in this verse was not Abel's own blood, which was shed by his brother, but the blood that he offered, and by means of which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Verses 8-16 record Cain's jealousy and subsequent murder of his brother, and God's ordained punishment. He was cursed, banished to a life of homelessness, and driven away from his agricultural vocation. The land of Nod, referred to in verse 16, meant land of wandering. When Cain protested that he could not bear his punishment, God responded with mercy and set a mark upon him, a special sign as an assurance to Cain that he would not be killed. Verses 17-24 give a brief genealogical summary of Cain's descendants. Though Cain's posterity were creative and possessors of varied talents and abilities, they were also godless. The final 2 verses of the chapter record the birth of Seth, whose name meant appointed or placed, signifying that restoration would occur through this son. Chapter 5 closes out the history of Adam, giving a list of his descendants. It is noteworthy that the list begins with the assertion in verse 3 that Adam's son Seth was born in his, Adam's, own likeness, rather than in the likeness of God, as Adam was created, thus indicating that successive generations were born with a fallen, depraved sin nature. Their longevity notwithstanding, all but one of Adam's listed descendants had something in common. They died, a verification of the effects of sin upon the human race. Notable in this genealogical record is the brief commentary on Enoch, who walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Enoch's testimony of intimate fellowship with God brought about a delivering act of the Almighty. See also Hebrews 11:5. The chapter concludes with the introduction of Noah, whose name meant rest or comfort, and whose account is developed in the next few chapters. Conclusion. Let us purpose to be sure that our offerings to God are done from a heart of true consecration and worship.
Genesis chapter 4. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass, that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength, a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass, that every one that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Enoch, and he builded a city, and called the name of the city, after the name of his son, Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives, the name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal, he was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal, he was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth, for God, said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Genesis. Chapter 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, and after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years, and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalaleel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalaleel 840 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalaleel lived 65 years, and begat Jared. And Mahalaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth.